Welcome to the Unmistakably Magic Podcast. I'm RJ.
And I'm Cort.
We are two lifelong fans of Disney parks and all theme parks.
Each week, we bring you the latest news from Disney parks and beyond.
Plus, this week, we'll be talking about what it's like to go to Food and Wine for the first time.
Food and wine for the very first time.
That's right. Well, I mean, I did get a preview one time. I got a soft opening.
You kind of got a little taste.
But it was much...
Taste.
Oh, Food and Wine.
Zinger. Zinger. So you had gotten a kind of sneak peek of
this
Food
was
and
the
Wine.
first time I got to fully
experience
the Food and Wine and plan ahead and think about it and
use your dining credits on it.
yeah.
So
I did that last time too, but yeah.
You used it more so this time.
Way more.
So I'm
used
stoked.
6 one day.
I'm stoked to hear all about it.
I'm excited to talk about it.
But let's kick it off with some news.
All right, it's episode 64.
So this is no longer waking me up in the morning.
That's probably good, so it's not as annoying. It's a good way to ruin us all.
I enjoy it again. It lasted a grand total of like 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But jumping into the news this week, you all saw it coming. Of course, it tops off our news this week. Epcot turned 35 this past Sunday, October 1st.
Yes, it did.
Happy birthday, you beautiful park, you. The celebrations kicked off with a ceremony at the Fountain of Nations. New merch was available, and the day concluded with an extended Illuminations fireworks show. Did you catch the fireworks show online?
I watched it, yeah.
What did you think of it?
It was good.
I thought it was an appropriate extension to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't too long, wasn't too short.
True.
Really just a nice, Epcot's 35.
Yeah, because they could have gone a little overboard, I guess, too, if they'd
Yeah.
wanted to, but...
I was half
That's
expecting
good.
them to be like, and now here's our 35 fireworks salute.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. 35 minutes of nothing but fireworks.
Could you imagine? Just constant fireworks.
You know how much that would cost, though?
Disney would do it.
It's true.
They can afford it
It's
at
true.
least. Well, Disney may have solved the Stitch problem that we talked about many after shows ago. Well, not many after shows ago, just many weeks ago.
Yep.
We haven't done an after show recently.
Yeah.
Stitch's Alien Encounter character greeting will replace Stitch's Great Escape over at the Magic Kingdom. However, we don't know when the character greeting will open up.
Didn't somebody put out a video of them? Like, just, they were waving.
Yeah, that was over at a Mickey's Not So Scary
Okay.
Halloween party. I believe Inside the Magic posted it of just the audio animatronics just sitting there waving.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself was a little creepy. Not gonna lie. Just
Hello.
because the main robot guy, whatever his name is, he was sitting there just leaning back and forth and waving. It was so creepy.
Hello.
Did you catch the little nod to the previous attraction that used to hold the space there?
An alien encounter.
Alien Encounter.
Character greeting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I'm glad they're doing something with it. I mean, I wish I remember what after show that was, but we talked about it
It was
at length because it was kind of one of those things like, what do you do with that space?
Yeah, there's
and we kind of didn't even come to a conclusion because
we didn't even think of this.
Yeah.
So, Disney,
Smart.
I guess they're thinking a little more ahead of the game than we are.
I think they're smarter than us, huh?
I'm curious to see though if they tear out that whole theater and just do like a big open meet and greet area with Stitch or with other aliens, maybe
True.
other experiments, because he was 626.
Maybe
Could we see 625?
627.
Where he makes sandwiches all the time. I'm curious to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Well, Cal Arts has announced a new program that will provide a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in design specializing in theme park entertainment and experiences. Classes will be taught primarily by current and former employees of the theme park industry, and the new degree will address the demands of the ever-evolving theme park industry. For more information, head over to the Cal Arts website. I think I need to transfer.
Yep. Sounds like it.
Or go
get
back
a
to
second-
school and get a second degree or
second
a third
bachelor's degree.
It'd be a third bachelor's degree for me.
Third bachelor's degree.
Third and a half, if you count a minor as a half.
Although I can imagine, because you'd have all your other stuff done, you would literally just take the core.
Just take the core
Credits.
design
Yeah.
credit stuff. I hope so.
Be interested to look
That'd
into
be cool.
it.
Yeah, I might look into that and see if I could do it.
Or see if they offer a master's
ooh.
someday
That'd be cool.
to tack it onto your engineering.
Get someone else to pay for it.
Yeah. Whoever's employing you.
Yeah. It is also worth noting that there are 2 other programs like this. I believe one of them's over at USC, and one is in the middle of nowhere, like Indiana or something like that. Center of the country type of deal. School I've never heard
Flyover
of.
state.
Yeah.
You ever heard that term?
No.
The states you fly over.
Iowa,
Yeah.
Nebraska,
Yeah.
Kansas,
Indiana, Illinois,
Illinois. Oh man, Missouri.
Arkansas.
Non-coastal states.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
They might
And-
throw us in
and-
there too.
I probably.
Depends on who it is, I guess.
That's true. If you're a Californian, you're definitely throwing every state as a flyover state. Well, the Swan and Dolphin Resort over at Disney World has debuted a new lobby on the Dolphin side that includes a new high-end bar called Fins, which has some really cool drinks that come in their own glass boxes, as well as a grab-and-go dining venue called Fuel, which will offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It
You've
looked
seen-
cool.
It
It was
looks
very modern, and
extremely modern.
the Finn stuff was like, it's almost like the stuff you see joked about, like the deconstructed, like,
yeah.
no, you don't drink that. Just breathe in the vapors, and that's the same as drinking a
And
whiskey.
you're,
or whatever.
you're
Yeah.
inhaling the
The aged whiskey. Or the, yeah, it's like, okay.
It's so, but it looks so cool.
It looks cool, yeah.
It just looks awesome. I don't know. And then Fuel kind of looks like, it reminds me a lot of like airport terminal kind of grab and goes,
It did, yeah.
with kind of a hint of like ultra hipster coffee bar.
Yeah, but it looked very, very modern. The remodeling
Yeah.
in there, yeah. Like
Um,
high gloss tile
yeah,
everywhere.
it looks real pretty.
It does.
It won't last very long because, you know, in about 8 years, that will all be outdated.
And they'll be doing it again.
Probably. Well, Disney World is offering some special rates on rooms for most days, January 1st through April 14th of 2018, when booked before or through January 2nd. Guests can get up to 25% off of select rooms, plus when you buy a room and ticket package with a minimum of 5-day park hopper ticket, you will receive 1 more day on the ticket for free.
Wow.
So 6 days for the price of 5, plus the room.
If I did this, I had 2 more days too.
You
I
would.
could do 8 days.
You do 8
For the price
days
of
for the
5.
price of 5. Do it. Do it to it. I believe the 25% off is only off of select moderate and deluxe resorts, and
That's
they
typical.
but they drop off to 15%, and then for the value resorts it's 15% and then 10% off. Which I was surprised to see that All-Star Sports and All-Star Music were on the 15% off, because normally those are the ones that are cheaper in general.
Mhm.
So might be trying to fill some rooms there.
Yeah.
But it's also really ridiculous that this is happening between January and April. Like, isn't there some spring break that falls in there?
Most places take spring break late enough that that's probably not spring break. And also 25% off is probably worth them to fill up. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
they're not going to lose money on this deal. They're not losing money on this deal. And if they can fill up all of their rooms for spring break, they'll be doing all right.
Honestly, they could sell like
Yeah.
80% off and still not lose money.
Yeah.
The markup on hotels is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Well, Legoland Florida is bringing back Brick or Treat. The annual event will feature a nighttime spectacular featuring Halloween-themed fireworks, a Brick or Treat trail for children 12 and under, as well as an all-new show at the Fun Town Theater, a new animated performance from a trio of large Lego jack-o'-lanterns, a new photo opportunity inside a giant Lego Halloween globe, as well as a new vampire magician, some master builders, and Legoland model citizens will also be roaming the park. Brick or Treat will run weekends from October 14th through the 31st.
That's a pretty short run for the Halloween stuff. I mean, granted, we're used to talking about Universal
And Disney starting Halloween
August,
in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I applaud Legoland for starting in October and actually designating the proper month to the proper.
It's literally just barely over 2 weeks, though.
It is. It's true.
But,
seems like a lot. It also jumps back to the knowing their market. Younger kids,
True.
Not really going to be hyped up for Halloween
in August.
For all of August and September and October.
True.
And then immediately jump into Christmas stuff. So, younger kids, hype for that Halloween in October.
Yeah, 2 weeks out.
Midway through October.
True.
Yeah. I applaud you,
Yet again, Legoland. Yet again.
You're killing it. Keep it up. Well, starting November 11th, Disneyland Paris will transform into a magical winter wonderland. The Tower of Terror will be the canvas for Goofy's incredible Christmas projection show. Sing Me a Merry Christmas will take place several times a day at the production courtyard stage, which is over by the Hollywood Tower Hotel. Disney's Christmas Parade will take place down Main Street, USA. A Very Merry Stitchmas will be a new show on the Royal Castle stage. The Frozen Sing-Along show will take place at the Chaparral Theater, and the Enchanted Advent Calendar will allow guests to awaken the magic of Christmas each day from December 1st through the 25th. Disney's Enchanted Christmas will run from November 11th through January 7th.
Stitchmas.
He didn't seem like a very popular character when I was out there.
It's not like World where they kind of use him a lot.
Well, World really only uses him as, in the attraction, if it's open.
Ohana, he's around.
Ohana, well, it's more of just the presence of the character.
Polynesian, he's around.
But there's no really main attraction, because over in China they have, and even Tokyo as well, in Asia I guess, those parks, they have like a Turtle Talk with Crush but with Stitch. They don't have that over in Paris.
Interesting. They have a Turtle Talk?
I don't believe so, no. They don't. They have Crush's coaster, which
righteous.
Waited way too long for that to not go on. A little ridiculous.
Not righteous.
Stinking breakdowns, dude.
Not righteous.
He ruined it.
Jelly Man.
I thought it was interesing, though. I understand why they're doing it, but most of the kind of Christmas events are happening over in the Studios Park. Draw more people over there. Makes sense. Then you kind of have your standard, typical Christmas stuff happening in the Disneyland park proper.
Like you said, it's a way to get people into that other park. Because, as we talked about when you went there.
Meh. I mean, there's good attractions, but that's about it. I don't know. It does make me want to go back there and kind of visit in the winter, because I've always wanted to see a Disney park with snow on it.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Same with Tokyo too.
Yeah, Tokyo would be awesome to go visit in the winter. It would suck if you went with the intent to ride rides, but if you went just to go take pictures of stuff and enjoy it and walk around,
a unique experience. True.
I'd like to go back, and it makes me excited for the next time that I do go back, because it reminded me of how truly different that park really felt. Anyways, back to the news. Merlin Entertainment, who are the owners of Legoland Parks, might be purchasing part of SeaWorld Entertainment Incorporated. The company reportedly made a partial bid, but SeaWorld wants to sell itself as a whole. Merlin might be seeking just to purchase Busch Gardens, for probably obvious reasons. However, some not so obvious reasons are that their current license don't allow them to have orcas or other really large aquatic mammals.
Who, SeaWorld?
No.
Oh.
Merlin.
Oh.
However, they do own Sea Life Orlando and the Orlando Eye.
Oh.
So they have some experience in the aquatic themed entertainment industry. But SeaWorld is just that next level that I don't think they can really legally do anything with. However, it is worth noting that SeaWorld is currently valued at $1.3 billion. However, attendance has been declining in recent years, so the company could make up to $1 billion by selling regional parks like Busch Gardens to focus on the main aquatic-themed parks.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him sell Busch to Merlin and see Merlin maybe kind of
Well,
up
I mean,
those, but
we love what Legoland does on a management side.
yeah,
I think we make that very apparent in the news.
I mean, I'm always impressed every time
because
we talk about it.
yeah, it's just so awesome. They understand their audience, they understand how to please their audience, and they understand how to run the business well.
Yeah.
So if Busch Gardens got bought by Merlin, I wonder what kind of
I think it'd be healthy for them. Yes.
differences we would see.
I don't know. I don't because it's a jump in my mind to go from a kid-centric Lego-based park where you have Lego to base everything off of, because you could make whatever you want. Just say, hey, it's Lego, you know.
Yeah, like even the Lego Batman movie, like we can throw Batman, DC characters in here, but they're Lego, so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah,
we have
Lego
Star Wars
Lego
characters
Star
in
Wars,
our
yeah,
park.
because it's Lego.
Yeah.
And Lego Harry Potter. So it'd be interesting to see them step out of Lego and have to deal with actual IP
The more
issues.
adult
Yeah.
stuff.
Actual IP issues and actual thrill rides. And
Although when you look at Busch Gardens, none of them really have any IPs in them. They're all
which
original
Lego,
stuff.
Merlin and Lego have connections to maybe get some IPs, but a
We
lot of
could
those
see-
other ones we're talking about are owned by somebody else or whatever.
So do you think if this merge does happen in the way that Merlin wants it to happen, so just buying Busch, do you think we would see Legos enter Busch Gardens? Or would we just see
I would wonder if we would see
specifically Legoland?
Is Busch like a lot of other parks, like Six Flags, for example, where they have kind of kid areas?
I think they do.
I would
yeah.
wonder if we would see mini Legolands
pop up over
pop
there
up in
kid
their
areas.
The kid areas would all be turned into Legolands, and
See, I don't know. If
I would
that
just be interested to see what their vision would be for adult, for lack of a better term, or not Lego
stuff.
themed stuff. What would that look like?
That's true. I'd be curious to see if they really invest heavily into the thrill market, as most Busch Gardens parks have.
Yeah.
And because Busch is kind of like in the same boat as Universal, where they theme really well in the queue, but then they kind
ride is
of
just
drops
a ride,
off in most some rides.
The rides is just a ride. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thrill ride.
And you go, oh, that's built by blah blah blah. And
Built
it's
by
one of these,
B&M,
yeah.
and it's a B&M mega coaster,
Yeah.
hyper coaster,
Crush a facer.
B&M. I don't want to sound uncultured. I know what I'm talking about. It's
I know.
just late.
I get you, but I think. Or is this a move to move some more thrills into Lego Lands and make them a whole family park?
I don't think we would ever see that, because I think Legos are so relatable to any demographic. Because honestly,
They're their own thing and they're good as they are.
honestly, I think you'll jump back into Legos when your son gets a little
I'm
older.
sure, yeah.
And
I mean,
he jumps into Legos and
Even
stuff.
when we went to the Discovery Center, it was
Yeah,
like,
you're playing with Legos
Yeah.
all the time. So I don't think we'll see more thrill-centered rides come to Legolands. I do think, however, we could see some Lego stuff, or at least more kid-focused stuff, come to the Busch Gardens parks. Because off the top of my head, like, I think when I think of Busch Gardens, I think of thrill. I don't necessarily think of like kid area.
okay.
And
So
it's
maybe
it's the same with Universal, because
Yeah.
I think thrill, screen ride, thrill,
yeah.
but not really kid area. And I think the rumor right now over at Universal is that the entire kid area section of the Studios Park in Florida is where Nintendo Land is going to go, or
Okay.
Nintendo World is going. So I wonder if we'll see over at Busch Gardens kind of just, like you said, a mini Legoland,
Yeah.
maybe a Lego town,
Lego
or
Town
something,
for
Lego City, or
couple
something.
ride, whatever rides there are, whatever. Yeah.
Or like kind of a version of the Discovery Center
Yeah.
that you went to a while ago.
Yeah.
Episode like 30 something.
No.
40 something.
It would have been around the 50s.
Was it 50s?
It was this summer. It was
That's
in June.
true. Mid 50s.
It would have been
Early
like
50s.
40s and 50s. Yeah.
Early
Somewhere
50s,
there,
late 40s.
yeah. Somewhere in there. I think the other thing about this that maybe is like, I think they're smart to not want SeaWorld. I think SeaWorld.
I think the general public doesn't recognize that SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are owned by the same company.
Yes. Which is
Um,
maybe why SeaWorld doesn't want to get rid of it
Yeah.
either. Because they're like, hey, we can still make money on this stuff
Yeah.
even if these ones are losing money.
Yeah. So that's where I think SeaWorld is kind of wanting to sell themselves as a whole.
Yeah.
Can you either buy all of this and
I think
all of
Merlin
the stuff that's going on?
I wouldn't want to touch it.
No, not at all. However, do you think that SeaWorld, with them currently being valued at $1.3 billion, and if they sold Busch Gardens and all the other extra regional parks for $1 billion, they're essentially doubling their worth.
Yeah.
Do you think they could turn it around with that extra money?
I think the trend, and I think Blackfish is part of this, but I think the trend as a whole, you see this with zoos.
Yeah.
You see this with other aquatic parks. I think the move is away from captive animals.
From the animal experience.
So I think people are moving away from that as a whole. I don't think in such mass that it's like that is a, we're not going to see the Denver Zoo, for example, or San Diego Zoo close anytime soon. But
no.
I think as a society we've moved more towards humane treatment of animals and farther away from them as entertainment or attractions.
Yeah.
And I think where like Animal Kingdom does it right is that it doesn't feel like an attraction, even though it is, and those animals are still captive, but they feel free.
But you also look at Animal Kingdom and you look like what they did with Pandora.
Yeah.
How it's literally no real animals are in that land. In a park dedicated to animals.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic land.
Yeah.
And
I think SeaWorld will have a hard time because it's harder to convey a sense of freedom with sea life or fish.
It is significantly more expensive to do that.
Yeah, because it's easier to build a savanna in the middle of Central Florida for your giraffes to run free than it is to have a miniature ocean for your orcas to swim free.
That's true.
I just think as a whole we're moving away from
societally, because you do.
We've seen the death of Ringham, the big circus.
Ringling Bros.
Ringling Bros are done.
Yeah,
and part of that was the animal issues.
Yeah,
because
the elephant stuff and everything that went on with
because
that.
the other parts have moved out and kind of been their own thing elsewhere, and so I would say that with SeaWorld that we can get some of those same rides elsewhere.
Yeah, we can get those B&M flying coasters, those B&M hypers.
We can get all those things in other including their own Busch Gardens or in other, regional parks or whatever.
Six Flags parks and stuff.
I just think as a whole we're
SeaWorld
we will probably in our lifetime see the end of SeaWorld unless they figure out some magic
big thing. Yeah, I do agree with that. Because even going to like SeaWorld San Diego, it was just so subpar.
Yeah,
for me, because there were 3 attractions and everything else was like animal focused.
Well, that's what I'm going to say is I'd rather, if I was going to go see Sea Life, I'd rather go to an aquarium
where it's fully dedicated to
that. And if I'm going to go to a thrill ride or an amusement park or a theme park, I'm going to go to a real one where it's not
amusement park.
Half and half. They're not trying to cram a ride next to an aquarium.
But then you run into that issue with like Animal Kingdom. However, Animal Kingdom in recent years hasn't been using real animals in any of their updated rides or new rides. If you look at Expedition Everest, that's just a coaster.
Yeah.
You look at Pandora, that entire land has no animals in it.
It's literally just the safari. And again, I think the safari conveys enough freedom that the average rider isn't going to feel weird about it.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't feel weird about going to a zoo and seeing one that's in a half or not even quarter size of that.
So then with this extra $1 billion, if this sale goes through, do you think SeaWorld could make a safari-type underwater ride that would convey that same feeling and could potentially save
Sure, if they could build a miniature ocean in the middle of Florida, in the middle of Orlando,
California, San Antonio, Orlando and stuff,
and give everybody a submarine that's sure, maybe. I don't see that happening.
It's a very tall order.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know. I just don't see.
I think Merlin is going after the right part of the company.
Yes,
and I think
that's
SeaWorld
strategic movement.
I think SeaWorld is also
not
fighting the right fight.
Yeah, they don't want to give up the thing that will live on because SeaWorlds will die.
Yes.
But Busch Gardens can live on its own, but the entire thing will die together if it's...
Well, do you also think like it's the difference between land animals and aquatic animals? Because Busch Gardens is very similar to Animal Kingdom in that it has a bunch of land animals within the parks.
Yeah, but I think somehow it's different because they have more
So it's
thrill
just
rides.
different.
I think it's just because they do.
They don't necessarily have more thrill rides though.
I guess in my mind, I kind of forgot about the
This
animals.
is just, but they're there, and they try to focus more so on the
I
animals.
think that's
as
where
well.
Blackfish maybe comes in and plays a role.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that's where
We're still seeing the effects of Blackfish.
I think we still are. I think people are woke.
and
They're woke.
The GP got woke.
They got woke to animal issues. I mean, even Blackfish. I mean, even if SeaWorld can refute some of the things in that movie, it still makes me think.
How much of it is true though?
It's
and,
not.
and, there's
and we're the
some
generation
truth
that
to
grew
some
up
of
with
it.
Free Willy, the movie. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
it's true. Yeah.
there's been nothing about my generation that's like, yeah, let's go to SeaWorld. You know, like I have no
No.
desire.
I have literally never wanted to go to SeaWorld until we just
I
went
think
to
it's
SeaWorld
easier to talk about conservation with land animals too.
than it is with aquatic.
Because again, you're somehow restricting their movement so much more. It feels like, especially the whales, and even like
Yeah,
dolphins
when
and
you
stuff.
when you go to like an aquarium or something, they don't take up that big of a footprint.
Yeah.
When you think about it, even like some of the biggest aquariums in the U.S., like the Georgia Aquarium, I've been there and it's still like, yeah, it's huge inside, but it's a ton of open space.
Yeah.
And not all of it is filled with water and like tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
There are a ton, but they're not super massive, such that I would feel like, yeah, those aquatic animals can thrive and survive and explore new areas all the time. So yeah, okay, I could see that as just more restricting for the aquatic side of stuff.
I think somehow it just is in my mind.
It just feels a little more restricting. I think it's because we can see where the boundary is and how big it is.
Versus
and to us, it seems
easier
small.
yeah.
Where to the fish, it might not
It might
seem
be
so small.
fine. Yeah, but
So
and part of it's the way they were using the animals as showpieces too for so long, and they've moved away from some of that in certain extent.
that's true.
Where the land animals, you don't see that. They might do a demonstration with an elephant or something like the Denver Zoo does that.
Well,
but
you also see but with like dogs and stuff, like the dog trick shows. Like over at I think Universal has some, or SeaWorld definitely has some. I know that.
But somehow it's different when it's
It is.
It's
I
different
don't
when
know
it's a
what it
land
is.
animal because like like a dog, totally different because it's
It's a domesticated,
animal and they're getting treats or I don't know. It's somehow
Yeah, it just
something
feels
about
different.
the sea life and treating them as showpiece. And I think that was the issue with why Ringling Brothers kept getting hit for animal stuff, because it was like land animals I think are easier than to kind of just work around and just kind of have them in your park but not as showpieces or something. I don't know. I don't know if there's an easy solution.
There's just something different between them.
Yeah, there is. And I don't know if I can nail it down necessarily. And we've been talking about this for 10 minutes.
We
so
have been.
let's finish up the news.
Well, wrapping up the news this week is a big rumor. Disney has filed a patent that could be used for a Spider-Man swinging attraction. The patent goes into detail about maintaining a swinging motion while traveling down a track. This could mean that a Spider-Man attraction is coming to Disneyland, as he is mentioned in the patent, and a Tarzan, who is also mentioned in the patent, attraction might be coming to Disney World. Because we all know that Universal has all control of Marvel stuff in theme parks in Florida.
Yeah.
At least the main Marvel, because we can apparently have a Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster.
It's something
Epcot.
about certain characters that is like whatever
It's like the
they've
main-
used, whatever they've used too, I've heard.
It's like the main
Yeah.
stuff, and then whatever Universal has used is what they have the
What they
rights
have
to.
locked down for
It's
now.
such a
yeah.
complicated
It
thing.
is.
I don't understand.
Lawyers.
So this seems really, really cool. It's basically just making it feel like you're swinging as if you're Spider-Man or Tarzan
Okay.
while traveling down a suspended track. So you're suspended underneath a track.
Okay.
And you're swinging back and forth, and I wonder if they can make it some way that we have control where we swing.
Oh.
Like, that would be just the coolest thing.
I wonder about nausea too.
That's true.
Swinging while moving,
Well, that just about wraps it up for the news this
All
week.
right, we're going to talk about Epcot food and wine.
For the very first time.
For the very first time. Epcot food and wine for the very first time.
With no World Showcase music. So if you haven't been following us for the last few weeks, I would assume you're new, so welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
thanks for
thanks for
sticking
watching.
around this long. If you have been joining us for the past few weeks, then you already know that RJ recently went to a trip to Disney World.
It's true.
Got a little dramatic there with the hurricane.
So, go back 2 episodes and we'll talk. That's where I talk my hurricane experience. Then go back 1 episode. That's where we talked kind of the new attractions and new places in the world that have come in the last 3 years. And then today we're going to talk about my experience going to Food and Wine.
For the very first time.
For the very first time. Like we joked about at the beginning, I did have one day 3 years ago on that trip where it was the soft opening, so there was limited menus and they were kind of testing some things out. So I kind of got to see Food and Wine, which made it really exciting and it made me really want to make sure we were there during Food and Wine on our next visit, which we happen to be able to do.
And I mean, Food and Wine is extending more and more every year.
Yeah,
so
because it used to be
just like a month.
It used to be like October.
Yeah.
It used to not be August, September, or October. I think
and
this year
halfway
it was
through
like,
November or something like that.
This year it was like the last couple days of August and then all the way through almost to the Christmas season. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to enjoy it and fully experience it for the very first time.
Yes. In fact, we spent 2 days where for one of those meals each day was just snack your way around the world.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, do you remember what booths you got to experience?
Greece, Mexico, Caribbean.
Did you go to Hawaii?
Hawaii, because I got the Spam hash.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Australia, because I got a shrimp. Canada. China. I think that's it.
Okay. So you got 7 of the 20 or
35.
30 something that they had.
Yeah, it was a little much.
35 for the 35th.
I don't know how you would have done them all, honestly, unless you're local and you're going back there every weekend
all the
just to hang
time
out and try something new.
It's so ridiculous.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. Was one of my top tips probably is do your research. Probably is. It is. Do your research.
It's always a top tip.
Always a top tip. The best source I found was YouTube is awesome because both Inside the Magic, Disney Food Blog, some of these other main
The Tim Tracker.
some of these other main sources got to go to a preview event where they got a lot of these items and they kind of had some hits or misses and they were like, hey, do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
The other one is it's a little expensive and I can't remember what it costs right now. Is the Disney Food Blog. She puts out
It depends on what you get.
And
it ranges from $5 to $9,
and
some
sometimes
of them are
there's,
even $11.
and sometimes she's got 25% off or whatever. You got to check her Instagram every so often too. So she puts out a guide every year for the Food and Wine based off of that preview event and then the previous years, because a lot of the booths are the same every year and the menus are the same.
Yeah, they bring back the same foods, the same drinks, the same beverages and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so check out Disney Food Blog.
Check out Disney Food Blog. Consider buying her guide. We quick read through it. I would say a lot of the information, if it's just basic information, is available on the internet. You're just going to have to go compile it yourself. So kind of consider what your time is worth versus what her guide costs.
So what she did is basically took all the information that's out there, that's kind of general information.
Yeah, so she had every booth laid out. Here's everything that's in the booth, food and drink, and then here's all the special events.
Does it have all the prices in there as well?
I think it did, yeah.
Okay, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, so she really, and again, all the special events, all the different, this tasting's going on at this place at this time on this day.
Yeah.
So it's all in there. I think I enjoyed flipping through it. And I was glad to have all the resources in one spot versus trying to go around and find all that information. So it was worth it to me.
How much is it?
I wanted to
You
say it was like 15, but I think we got a coupon off, so it was closer to 10.
$15 for
And it was like
pretty much all the
several
event
hundred
information.
pages in a PDF. I mean, she really puts
That's
work
crazy.
into this. So
That's crazy.
I mean, it was a lot to flip through too. It was like, okay, where's the booths?
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, she goes into detail about every event, and like, and it really makes like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I'd like to do that,
Yeah.
especially if you're going, like maybe as an adult without children in tow, to Food and Wine to enjoy food and wine.
So
solely.
if you're going specifically for food and wine,
Oh, absolutely worth it. I would
100%
totally,
invest in this.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going and food and wine just happens to be when you're going,
Consider it maybe, or just at least check out her blog and watch some of the other videos. Tim Tracker did some good ones where he kind of went around and
he shows you
at least the
he'll
menus.
buy a lot.
He'll buy a lot, and then he'll show you at least the menus at each booth, so you can kind of get an idea what you're looking for.
Yeah.
The nice thing is they have a little guidebook that they hand out,
Okay.
and it's like a little passport, and you can flip through that, and it gives you every booth too.
Does it give you the menus for every booth?
It does. I don't know if it has prices or not. I'll have to find
I would be
ours.
surprised if it has prices.
I don't
on
think
there.
it does. Yeah,
If
but it just
Disney
gives you.
hands
It
it
kind of
out.
gives you the idea, a basic idea.
And that's free,
That's free, yeah.
right? Okay, yeah.
Because you can buy some other thing, and I never even looked at what it was.
Yeah, I think you can buy like a food and wine. They were doing it for some other festival, I think.
They had something for
It's
food
like
that you
some-
could purchase too.
Yeah, it's like a lanyard. Basically, it's
Yeah.
like a punch card stuff where you can do like, oh, I can have like 5 beers or 5
Yeah.
snacks and
Yeah.
5 beers and 5 snacks or whatever. Or 5
They also sold.
beverages and
They also
stuff.
sold special gift cards, Disney gift cards that were like food and wine,
Exclusive stuff.
And I thought about like getting one and just putting $5 on it or whatever,
Yeah,
just to have it, and because you can reload a gift card,
yeah, that's true.
use it every time I go to the Disney store. Like, yeah, I went to the food and wine.
I'm a food and wine guy.
I've been to food and wine.
No big deal.
I will say that without her guide and without that little pocketbook, it's a little overwhelming because it's 35 booths, like we said.
All
Because-
in World Showcase.
No, they're not all in World Showcase.
Most in World
Yeah.
Showcase.
Because that
It's
was
true,
part of
'cause
the
there's
problem.
the
Is
festival center
You got the festival center over.
in the old Wonders of Life
Wonders of
Pavilion,
Life Pavilion.
between the old Energy Universe of Energy Pavilion
and Mission Space,
the old Horizons Pavilion, which is
Yeah.
now Mission Space. Yeah.
and then you had a couple booths tucked in behind Innoventions
I never
West
I don't know which
by
one's
Figment.
which. Over by Imagination.
Yeah, over
okay.
at Magic. So there was 2 or 3 over there,
Wow.
and then kind of that area that's probably technically World Showcase as you're coming from Figment to World Showcase.
Oh, that walkway
There were
back there.
several along that. There was like 1, 2, 3. It was like 2 or 3 on one side, then like the Caribbean booth was on the other side.
Okay. So they're lining. They're kind of prepping you a little bit, and then they get more
Yeah,
and more
I mean,
dense as you're going into
it was
World
weird though
Showcase.
because it was only that west side, whatever
So
Figment
it wasn't
side.
It wasn't over by the Odyssey at all.
There was nothing over. Well, Odyssey has craft beer in it.
That's true. Yeah, that's
It
right.
has all the craft beer ones,
And
which
the
has-
Epcot 35th stuff.
which has unique food
yeah.
too, which is like, I'm like, it's so much. So it can be really overwhelming. So definitely think about either flavors you really want to try or foods you really enjoy. Like my wife really loves shrimp scampi,
Yeah.
so we went to Flavors from the Sea or whatever it was, the seafood one,
Yeah.
and got her the shrimp scampi dip, and she loved it. It was awesome, and I tried some of it too, and actually our daughter really loved it too.
Yeah.
And then like I really loved that Spam hash.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it again. I didn't because I was so full from everything else. And like we
Should've.
knew we loved the Canadian steak.
Yeah, because it's Le Cellier's
Yeah,
steak.
and we had it actually for lunch one day, the full steak, and then we were still.
Yeah.
I was still like, yeah, I'm gonna get one anyways.
That's one of the ones that's like $9, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're all snack credit eligible. So this is one where if you're on a dining plan, it's incredible because now all the dining plans
Yeah.
include 2 snack credits. So, like
It's
we
ridiculous.
literally checked in and had 57 snack credits on our account because we also had my son's.
Yep.
So we had all of his. So we had everybody gets 2 per day. So we had 6 per day to use, and we really weren't using them
No.
that much. So it was like, it was awesome to be able to go and not like think about it when you're at Food and Wine because it could add up. That'd be the thing I
It
would say is
Definitely can.
consider a dining plan if you're going to go to Food and Wine for Food and Wine. Consider a dining plan only for the snack credits. The downside of that then is then you have all these other meal credits,
Which is where I think the Disney dining plan, the mid-tier one,
Yes.
would be the best value during Food and Wine.
Because there is a way to trade in quick service for snacks or something. You know, like a quick service
Oh,
meal
there
is
is?
worth X number of snacks.
I thought they kind of nixed that.
Oh, maybe they in the past it had been that way. So maybe
Yeah.
they.
I
did away
think
with that.
recently they
Okay.
did away with that. However, Epcot still has a ton of fantastic restaurants.
Yeah,
So if
quick
Epcot
service
is your
and sit downs.
so if Epcot's your
your
primary park for food, if you're going there for Food and Wine primarily, and Epcot's going to be your primary park, so can experience a lot of what it has to offer.
The
through
wine,
those.
obviously, a beer, any of those are not going to be snack credit eligible, but all of the
Sadly.
food is.
Did you try any wine or beer?
No. I was all
Yeah,
about the
you're
food. All about the food.
You're a foodie. Did you see any alcoholic beverages that really enticed you though, or that you're like,
the Light
"Ooh, I
Lab
would
one
try
looked kind of fun, just for fun.
that?" The Tron inspired Light
Yeah,
Lab.
they had some really I would say that like you'd have to be really into wine to know.
Like what's good?
I really
want
to try, the Patagonia, like the Chilean wines or whatever.
Patagonia.
Well, that's the booth. They call it Patagonia. So I actually probably had like 8 or 9 booths because I forgot about that one. I had an empanada from there.
From the clothing booth.
Well, because Patagonia is a region of South America that includes several countries.
I know.
It's like the Caribbean because it was
It's
like
just-
Jamaican something and something else from. I had the Jamaican beef patty, which was pretty good.
Okay, so then how big are the portions?
Most of them are very much snack size.
Okay.
Like the empanadas was 2 empanadas and they're about, I don't know, 3 inches long.
It's a little more than like $50.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were decent. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
2 of those.
Two
Like
or-
I gave one to Andrea and then I ate one and then like
So like 2 or 3 of them, and
certain
you'd
things
be
like
full.
we had like the Greek nachos, which
Yeah.
are vegetarian but really, really good.
Yeah.
And it was like a full one of those little boats that you get your food in,
Yeah.
like full of stuff.
Yeah, it seems like some booths or some, I would say,
Yeah,
snacks
like the
are
Le Cellier
much
steak.
fuller
Oh, yeah.
than others.
Like the Le Cellier steak was about 2 bites, and then it was like, well, that went quick. So depends on what it is. Like, and then like the Australian shrimp, I think it was like 2 or 3 giant shrimp.
Really?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
really good.
So overall, though, you think you could? I mean, you, all 4 of you, plus because you had other family in town as well.
Yeah.
You guys all had Food and Wine for a meal.
Yes,
So then, how many snacks did it require to fill all of you up
I would say 3,
per person?
maybe 3 for me, 2 for somebody else, and then like 2 for 1 for the kids.
So like 3 for you, like 2 for your wife, and then
The kids, a lot of times, they just wanted a hot dog, so I would just go buy them a hot dog. I wasn't going to try to make them eat, steak or empanadas. I mean, they probably
Spam
would, but I wasn't going to
hash.
try to figure it out.
Spam
so,
hash.
yeah, I would say 2 or 3 per person. I think the one day I just went overboard just because I wanted to try so much, and we were right in a kind of a concentrated area of a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So I just went around and got one thing from everything, and I was like, and we had so many snack credits that
You're just like, might as well use them
I
all.
will use them up.
Because, yeah, you had at minimum 4 per person because of the hurricane that you couldn't use.
additional 4. Yeah, I mean,
So-
we ate some Mickey bars in there, but I mean, it was like
Ridiculous.
so many snack credits because you still have all your meal. I mean, it's just so many.
Yeah.
It made it really freeing though, because like you said, like the Le Cellier steak one was like $9. Like it would have been hard to kind of whip out a credit card
Kind of
every
justify
time.
justify a $10 purchase
When I
per
could go-
person every time.
If I was gonna do that for a meal, quote unquote, I could walk to one of the quick service and for $15 eat an entire meal versus spending
$10 to $15 you could get away with a
Yeah.
full meal at a quick service. Yeah.
instead of buying 2 or 3 food and wine things for and spend maybe twice as much. So
$15 to $30
$25, yeah,
type of deal.
depending on what you're buying. Yeah.
If you're buying 3 $10 plates, could get a little pricey.
Big tip I would say is if you can get a trash can. So the one thing that everyone said, including the food Disney food blog, which by the way she has a really good video out too on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find a place to eat these things because they're like in the little paper boats, and you get like a plastic fork, and you're like, okay, what do I do now? Especially certain ones like Le Cellier steak, you're like trying to cut your steak with a little plastic knife.
Yeah,
And
it's not happening. And
I saw a lot of people congregated around trash cans, like enjoying food off the top of trash, which Disney trash cans are very clean, so it's
I mean,
okay.
Disney in general is very clean.
Occasionally they have tables set up. A weird tip, although we did not take advantage of it, was she suggested going to like Target and buying like a small lunch tray,
Yeah.
which I think is really
Using that,
genius.
that's a smart way. I'm thinking right now we come out with a food and wine kind of necklace thing that has the tray right here.
And it can fold up
and
when
it
you're
can
done.
fold up on top and just like Velcro to your hoodie or something. We're doing that.
Works.
Check out our spreadshirt. It's
Well,
coming
like,
soon.
What was the like Sonic used to have the ones that clipped on your windshield? We need that, but like clips on your shoulder somehow. They do sell ones that are official food and wine that have like a wine glass holder and then has a little tray that'll fit maybe one or two little baskets of food.
Oh, okay.
But her thing was like the dollar store sells them and they're about
They're like TV tray size.
They're like TV tray size, maybe a little smaller.
Size, so,
And she even sells a sticker like official food and wine, like DFB tray or whatever that you can put on it. I think that's actually really smart. Like if you're considering going with in the fall, a couple years, next year?
Next year sometime.
2018,
yeah.
and food and wine's on, I would totally say go to the dollar and just have them for that day that you're, if you're going to plan to do that, do that. Just throw it in your bag.
Throw it in my backpack.
Which it's going to, go in the back like in the hydration pouch anyways. And not.
By then, I'm going to have patented my food and wine tray shirt. Sheesh. They will be selling it in the parks by then.
Built-in hoodie with a built-in tray.
It's like when iPads first came out and everyone was like, where am I supposed to put this tablet?
I used to walk around in college with my laptop like this, like holding the screen and kind of pushing the keyboard into my chest.
Oh, man. Okay, so top tips before you go.
Top tips before you go. Do your research. Budget yourself if you're not on a food and dining plan. If you are on a dining plan, you'd probably still want to consider
Budget your snack
credits so you have two or three or maybe even 4 per day that you can use each day that you're planning to eat food and wine.
Yeah.
Or just one a day or whatever. I mean, however you want to do it. Think about that though. Are you going to want to do a meal out of it or whatever?
If you want to do meal.
If you want to do a meal out of it, my big suggestion would be make it lunch, because what we found is we ate lunch one day, it happened to be Le Cellier.
Yeah.
And then that night was supposed to be food and wine, and none of us were like, like we got one or maybe 2 each just to try something, but we were like, I don't need any more food. But like the day we did it for lunch, it was much more appropriate.
Much more wanting to. So then did it spoil your dinner?
No, it was fine. I think our dinner was a little bit later too. That was part of it.
Okay.
Second tip would be avoid the weekends. I didn't take that to heart, or I didn't think about it, because it was literally everything else was completely dead.
Yeah.
After the hurricane, but Friday night, Epcot was booming.
Yep.
So really do consider, if you can avoid the weekends at all costs, you will much more enjoy it, because you won't be wait. It was amazing how much longer the lines were longer.
So you went twice. The one day that you did lunch was not Friday night, right?
So the one day we did dinner was not Friday night.
So food and wine as dinner was not Friday night.
Was not Friday night. Okay. And then food and wine lunch was another day too.
Okay.
We happened to go back to Epcot another night for just to see illuminations and ride some rides and have dinner, I think.
Yeah.
And it was insane. I was tempted to go get like my Spam hash, and I was like, no, not worth it, because
You're
lines.
Not gonna wait.
The lines were huge.
How long do you think the lines were?
I think you'd probably wait 15 minutes for an item.
15 minutes per item. Wow.
Because the part of the problem is a lot of stuff's made either served fresh or made fresh, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
So you're ordering it, so you're waiting in that little queue to get to the ordering station. There's 3 or 4 cashiers. Get rung up, then you take your receipt over to the little window, and they're making your stuff fresh or serving it up fresh. And so there's
a little bit of a queue there.
I would say it's
easily 15 minutes, or like 15 minutes
maybe
top?
Even more.
Okay.
I would say even more, because there are some of the booths have 2 entry queues,
entry points.
2 entry points.
Oh wow.
So definitely consider if you can avoid the weekends at all costs. Obviously, if you're local and you're going and that's what you're doing, you're probably not worried about other things like attractions or.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what you're there to do. So your time is time. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So consider your time there. And then my third tip would be bring a tray if you can.
Buy one of our patent pending
tray
food and wine tray shirts.
Or consider finding a spot that has a table, because there are areas that have tables, like the Caribbean booth had kind of a little shaded area with some standing tables.
Even just standard Epcot has a significantly more amount of just tables around.
Yes. Yeah,
because of all the quick service restaurants.
So if you can snag one and then go around and get what you want and come back to your table and eat it.
Create a home base at the
We
table.
kind of did that. We took the benches kind of by the refreshment port.
Oh yeah.
And sat there and ate, and it was much more ideal than trying to walk and eat. I
imagine so.
That's probably my big three. That would be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to say?
No, I really enjoyed it. I would totally do it again, and we had talked about how enjoyable it would be to do, like, as an adult trip.
Yeah. You were mentioning that last week off camera.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, we should go. Got to find yourself someone to bring along, Cort, and then we can all go and enjoy.
Go for like 2 or 3 days in the middle of a week sometime. Like, I mean, literally, I would.
Yeah.
Granted, Orlando's not cheap for us to fly to, so it's a little bit harder on that aspect. And once you're there, it's hard to say like, oh, I just want to go to Epcot for 3 days. But
yeah,
I would. Right now, I would do it, but obviously, give it a year. I'll be like, no, I got to do a full trip. I gotta go every park at least one day. I think it'd be really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, definitely would recommend.
Yep.
Wouldn't recommend. Maybe recommend.
Would totally recommend.
Definitely recommend.
Definitely recommend.
Okay.
Just avoid the weekends. Because seriously, I mean, it was.
Was it like Disneyland level bad?
Yes. It was like hard to walk around bad.
Gosh, that stinks.
I know. And this is September, right after a hurricane.
Like 3 days after.
3 days after
a major hurricane.
After a major hurricane, 3 days after a major hurricane, September, which is already supposed to be kind of a dead season.
Yeah. Wow. That's.
Yeah, I would say don't go on the weekend. Sunday, man, I'd be a weekend. I don't know. But I would just, if you go in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday.
Time to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Unmistakably Magic Podcast.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something about food and wine for the very first time.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable. I hope you guys get a chance to do that sometime.
Yeah, I hope I can get out there sometime for food and wine. I'm sure I can sometime in my lengthy adult life. That's going to happen soon-ish. But I think it'd be really cool if you, your wife, me, and
somebody,
I don't know, girlfriend or something.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Check out our social media. We're at Unmistakably Mag on Twitter, Unmistakably Magic on the old Instagram there, Facebook.com/Unmistakably Magic.
You like what we're doing? If you want to invest in the show and want us to create that food and wine hoodie / t-shirt / long sleeve shirt / whatever kind of shirt.
It really just needs to be a short sleeve shirt because it was hot.
Easily. It's hurricane season, though. Could be hurricane.
It was still hot. Even in the hurricane.
I bet it was. Head over to unmistakablymagic.spreadshirt.com. Buy a shirt. Give me a reason to make the Spaceadia shirt. And now, come up with an idea
official
for
food
this
and wine tray shirt.
The officially unofficial food and wine tray shirt.
I should say that on the back. Email us questions, comments, shout outs, anything you want to talk about. Unmistakablymagic@gmail.com. Go over to YouTube, search for us, subscribe over there, share the videos with your friends. Don't forget to check out some of our old after shows,
as well as all of our old shows.
All of our old shows, because
main shows.
You're limited on iTunes. So also go over to iTunes, leave us a review, subscribe over there, share that with your friends. And a big thank you to our friend Dylan over at Blast Off Branding for making our awesome logo. Don't forget to check out our friends at the Unmistakably Star Wars podcast. Those guys are crazy for Star Wars.
They're up there. They got stuff going.
They always got something going on.
I don't know what's going on all the time, but there's always something.
Rebels and
I think it's worth noting here. Welcome to all the new recent subscribers. We saw a subscriber spike this past week on YouTube. So welcome to all of you.
Welcome. Thanks for subscribing.
Whether we know you in person or not,
we love you.
Who cares?
Email us.
We are stoked you guys are with us and stoked you guys are listening. Yeah. Feel free to email us, introduce yourselves. Unmistakablymagic.
DM us on the whole Instagram or something. I don't know.
Whatever you want. Tweet at us. Who knows? If you feel the urge to talk to us about anything, you got some tips, some critiques, whatever. We might listen to you. We might not. But we will most likely reply.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following along with us on this fun excursion.
That's right.
But that just about does it for this week.
All right. Have a magical week.
See you real soon.